Popbangcolour. Oh yeah, and welcome back to Continuous Car Drawing Live. Driven in, drawn out, and today we've got a truck, which is the polar opposite to what I'm drawing, which is a tiny little 1995 Mini from Simpsons Classics. So I'm going to jump out of this truck. It's beautiful. Oh, there's the knees going again. And I'm going to introduce you to the man who owns this rather lovely turquoise Mini straight from Longbridge. And here's Mark from Simpsons Classics.
Hi Ian, thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming down from the north.
Yep, from the north.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So,
Rover Kingfisher Blue.
Rover Kingfisher Blue. Sounds very exotic. So we're going to have a chat via Instagram Live, which will also be on YouTube and all the other socials at the same time. And yeah, we'll crack on. Right, so welcome along. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thankfully, because we've got a massive Hilux in here and this car, thank you for bringing the tiniest car that you could bring.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I've got to start somewhere, haven't I? You're going to push to get something smaller, really.
Like what's smaller though? Like, I don't know.
Bubble car, Fiat 500, something like that.
Yeah, like, what's that three-wheeled one with the two, is it a mesh?
Is it a little Bond bug thing? Little
Bond bug?
Yeah, in
Okay.
Morgan, little dinky Morgan.
Oh, love a three-wheeler.
Yeah.
Love a three-wheeler. If you just quickly want to introduce yourself into this live, if people don't know who you are, well, why don't they? That's the thing.
Well, I'm Mark from Simpsons Classics, so I run my own YouTube channel restoring classic vehicles, primarily classic minis. That's kind of what kicked it all off, I guess. But we've got old Volvos, we're kind of moving into other vehicles and stuff now. Got a lovely workshop and stuff like that, and yeah, I try to post 2 to 3 times a week, and that's kind of the long and short of it for me. It all started on Instagram, spiraled into YouTube, so yeah, it's a passion.
People, if you're watching this, hello for everybody. You can say hello and drop comments and whatever as well. Yeah. I'm sure there are people, there might be at least one person.
Yeah, I can see people bobbing in. Mrs. S has joined, my wife.
Oh, very important. No, my wife, she'll probably try and ring during it because she'll have forgotten. Right, so I have got a picture of you looking very happy in your Mini here as it arrived today.
Yeah.
And in a way, you've brought it back to the motherland.
I have, yeah.
You brought it back to the Midlands,
where it all began.
Where it all began. And this FarGo, as a site in a previous life, was a radiator factory for British Leyland. So I'm sure bits of that car possibly were built here. I can't confirm that. Well, don't quote me.
They're all a bit of a parts bin anyway, aren't they?
It's just build a small car, this bit.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm gonna draw whilst we have a little chat.
Yeah.
And so I've got the sketch pad ready, the blank page is ready.
Yeah, looking good.
And we've got the turquoise colours, because it's not blue.
No, it's turquoise.
It's turquoise.
People say this car's green. How's this car green?
Rude.
Yeah, I find it rude.
You need to say it's a special limited edition, 1,000 only.
Yeah.
That's what you need to say.
Yeah.
So, unlike previous chats I've had, so I've had a couple of chats so far.
Yeah.
We actually haven't had a conversation. So, whereas previously, like, oh well, we know each other and we've done this before. We've never done this before, which is nice. You reached out and said, oh, I see you're doing a bit of this social stuff. I'd like to get involved. I've got a bit of a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, actually, we have met previously. So yeah, we'll throw it back to how we met. So I do shows and events. You take your Mini to shows and events.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And where we met initially was at the very cool Late Break show in Manchester. Yeah. When they took over, when they filled that old railway station with loads of cool stuff.
A beautiful building.
And I am proud owner of one of your stickers, and your sticker I put it on my car, which is
I can see it. I've got a lovely picture of it.
Yeah, I don't do that for everybody. I'm very pernickety about what stickers go on my car.
I think it looks very good on there.
Believe it or not, a sticker bomb car, I'm very fussy. Once somebody put a sticker and didn't ask me, I was like, what?
That's just rude, isn't it?
Rude. Yeah. How dare they?
To be honest, I'm surprised there's space.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. They found a space. I was more upset that they took the space than anything else. So yes, we met at Late Break Show. Was this car there?
This Mini was there. Yeah. Johnny Smith accepted it in. it was mad because me and Mrs S had just got married, and it pulled in and it had just married across the back window and stuff like that, and it was a bit surreal. It was 3 Minis, I think, in the hall, but it was nice just to be a part of that. It was such a mix of cars. And that's I've seen you at events, but that's where I kind of at least got close to you. We bought a few bits off you and stuff like that, and it was nice to have a chat. And obviously, you fitted the sticker, which I love. So.
Yeah, it was good. Well, first of all, congratulations on
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
And I presume this was your wedding car then?
Yes. So this car I've had 11 years in June this year, and me and Mrs S, we met at a owners club, Manchester Minis, and the reason we kind of got talking is because she always wanted this car in this colour.
So basically, it was like she wants the car, you come for free with it.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, she always wants it, and ironically, she never drives it. So it's
Well, she's got you.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the game she played there. Like that's fair. I like your car. So you come with the car. Well, I'll marry you. That's fine.
So yeah, that's kind of how the car came along. I bought this car when I first relocated from the south of England to the north of England, and I needed something. I wasn't in the best of places, and I bought this car really cheap compared to what they're worth now, and went to the owners club, and yeah, my car whole life spiraled through this car. Simpsons Classics started as an Instagram page through this car. It's been in many different forms and styles, and that it sits now. It's always kind of my flagship car.
So how many miles are you on in that car?
I bought the car 52,000, and it's 87,300 it's showing now.
Well, my car's got higher mileage than your car.
Oh, cool.
And mine's younger, so there we are. Yours is 95, mine's older. 2009, and I've got 115,000 miles.
Oh, you're doing very, very well.
Well, it's a terrible car. it's a terrible car. The interior on your car is fabulous. It's a lovely. It's like a checker to it.
Yeah, I'll obviously move my phone, you'll be able to see it. It's Rover's finest tartan in there.
So it's tartan, yeah. And now next week I'm going up to Edinburgh in this car.
Yeah.
So I might have to bring back some tartan.
Well, I can't remember what family tartan it is, because obviously all tartans are family, aren't they, colours and stuff like that. When we took this on our honeymoon to Scotland, we went to his site, and the person that brought in, he goes, "You've had your car trimmed in my family colour." It's like, I definitely haven't. This is how it came.
You know what that was? That was just a guy at the factory in Longbridge going, "Guys, we've just got this material out the back, like we'll make it we'll call it a special edition.
Yeah.
And we'll whack this tartan in it, like."
No, it's very different. People think it's custom, and it's definitely not.
It looks lovely. It looks lovely. Right. So there we are. There's the beginnings.
I can see the drawing coming on very nicely. Yeah, and I can see it over there. Look at that.
And you can see it on the camera on the back of the car.
Yeah, look at that. And you can see Ian over there doing it. That is mad.
There we are. So it's all in multi angles. Yeah. Oh, and for the internet over there. Now I'm going to crack on with the turquoise, not the blue, not the green, turquoise of the car. So let's throw it back, as we haven't chatted about how you got into kind of classic. Yeah. So this is you've owned this for a number of years.
Yeah.
But you've also got a penchant for the Swede.
I do like a Swedish car, yeah. So mainly Volvos, not the Saabs.
But. Few so the polar opposite of owning a tiny car is own basically a brick of beautifully brick shaped.
Oh yeah.
And we're talking Volvos that were designed with a ruler.
Yeah. The 90s Volvo, 80s, 90s Volvos. The squarer, the blandest colours, the better.
Yeah, and it's kind of the kind of car that you want to take to IKEA to. Like, if you're picking up some furniture,
definitely we do that.
That's it. You've got the perfect car for it. So, how did you kind of always been interested? It always been an interest, and then turned into the job. How did it turn into being a YouTube channel as well?
Okay, so right back at the beginning, as a kid, like any child or boy or girl or these days, I played with cars all the time. I had photos on the walls. Went to as many shows as I could as a kid, but I didn't really come from a car family. It was me that liked cars, and then my brother kind of got into cars. But Minis for me was where it was at. I think it sparked from my granddad having them, and then I used to kick a football around with my mates, but I was more interested in what their dad was building on the driveway, and that was a classic Mini, or many classic Minis as time went on. And then I got to know him, and he's like, "Oh look, I found this car for you," and stuff like that. And then I bought my first car, and I had 3 before I could drive. It's kind of, I've had 18 or 19 classic Minis now.
Yeah, with the business side, some of them you kind of build up, and then they go off to a new home, or you know, or is it just that you've had so many minis, you know, and it just came to a time that you've just moved them on?
It's
or?
a bit of both. There's quite a few different variants of a classic Mini, I guess the best way to put it. And I've strived to try and own them all, and I nearly have owned them all. There's a few that I haven't had yet. So I might buy one quite cheap, do an engine on it or a bit of welding on it and go, oh, that's cool, I've enjoyed that, taken it to a few shows, and then I've moved on with it, got something else, or something else has come up, oh, I'll swap you for that and a bit of cash, and that happened, and stuff like that. I dived a little bit into the Volkswagen scene and came straight back out again after reliability issues. But yeah, it's...
so you're saying that the old British Leyland is more reliable than Volkswagen?
All day long.
Really?
I used to daily drive this classic Mini that we're sat in now, and I've always had a classic Mini. And I guess that's where the classic Minis came into it. They've always been there. Like I said, I think I've had 18, 19, I can't remember now, I've lost count. But yes, the Swedish cars, that's a bit of a change, isn't it? It's very, very different.
Have they always been alongside the Mini? So you always had like kind of the Swedes alongside, or was it more of a recent thing?
So Minis, really for me, I had them because they're cheap to insure. They still are now on a classic car policy. And that's why I had the classic Minis. But the Volvos, I grew up in the 90s. All my friends' parents had Volvos, 940s, 850s, all that kind of stuff, all the cool stuff to me. But I know people will be watching this now and going, that's just not cool. But I grew up with Rovers, so kept keeping that BL kind of thing alive.
Is that Rover 200s?
800s.
800s?
Yeah.
Sturt.
Vitesse we had, yeah. We had a very,
I mean, again, Longbridge finest right there.
Yeah, very, very nice cars. But I always strive to have the Volvo. I just thought, I love the boxiness. I love the fact that they invented the seatbelt. I don't know. I like, aside from the Mini, which is tiny, all my daily cars have been big. Like if it comes in an estate, I'll buy it. The Volvo Amazon is a kind of a dream car of mine. I grew up watching Heartbeat with my nan and my dad, and there was Volvo. Heartbeat. That show, yeah.
Yeah, we got a friend of mine actually. He's an MG owner, but he's well into. You might know him, Kieran. He loves Heartbeats.
Yeah.
And I think either he or one of his friends owns the Heartbeat the Heartbeat cars.
Yeah. Well, we just got engaged, and we went to a car show that was there, and there was all like it's North Yorkshire Car Club, and the very car used in Heartbeat, Gina's boyfriend's car, it was there, and I got to sit in it. And it was amazing. I was like, I have to own an Amazon now.
I've seen that there's various updates, and you kind of talk about ownership, and I've seen certainly one of the Volvos I think was a bit of a barn find.
Yeah. So the channel for me, so Simpsons Classics started in 2015 as an Instagram page with this very car that I'm sat in now that you're drawing. And basically, I got let down by loads of companies to have this car repainted and restored. I had no space to do it. I had a car on the street, and I just started documenting it. So I pulled my car out of the garage it was in, and I started doing it in my now mother-in-law's garage, and we started like doing all the body work. I basically relearned how to weld, and then it got sent to a company to be painted. And I documented this all the way along, and everyone kept asking questions, photos, how do you do this? And I'm like, I'm not professional at this, I do this as my spare time. And that's kind of like, oh, I wonder if I should film it. So then I moved to a house where I got a garage with my wife's car, the Project 89, if you're watching the channel. It's coming along very nicely and getting closer to paint. And I had a garage, so I thought, oh, I'll film it. Let's film this. And I hate having my photo taken. I don't know how I do this now. But
how are you coping today with that?
Oh, they're everywhere.
all the cameras.
Yeah. So I got really into it, and I've met some lovely people through doing YouTube, and that's when that started. So like just over 2 years now, I've been filming and uploading onto YouTube, and I try to keep 2 to 3 videos a week, and I really, really enjoy it. And it's kind of spiraled from being on a driveway, and everything I've always said is dream big. You can do anything you want. You've just got to put your mind to it. And I proved that in lockdown when I did a budget Clubman, where I did everything from start to finish, painted it, everything on my driveway. And then I sold it back to a good friend, Pete, mate, who bought the car back and he's finished it. But I did everything, painted it, got it rolling, and that is really where my channel, I feel like everyone that's watching this, thank you very much, that's the people that kind of support it. And then it kind of spiraled, and I always said I wanted a workshop, and that's where that's come in. So I've got a workshop now with Volvos. There's a Volvo 340, which is the garden fine car that you're showing there. That was bought purely to create content. It was very fun, the most satisfying car to wash ever.
And do you find that particular cars have like a particular more engagement on different cars, or is it just like
yes, definitely.
people? And do you find cars that are kind of like of an era, or somebody goes, oh, my dad had one of them,
Yes, yeah.
or my gran had one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You find that engages people because it's something they can relate to.
Yeah, so the minis definitely have that. Like, even if it's a bad memory, you've got a memory of a classic mini. Whether it's breaking down, waiting for the AA on the side of the road or the RAC, or it's fixing it or rolling around on the floor welding it. Everyone's got a memory of it or learning to drive in one.
Me and my wife had the Italian job minis as our wedding cars.
Yeah, so that's just cool.
So randomly I was at Shelsley Walsh and I had a print of the Italian job artwork that I'd done as a paint with cars artwork hanging up. And the guy came up and he went, oh, they're my minis.
Yeah.
And I went, how do you mean they're your minis? He goes, I own the Italian job minis in terms of they're the ones that are rented out and go to revival and whatever. And I went, oh, okay. And then
you're good to know.
We had to get with my wife's family, because they were flying in from America and various places for the wedding, so they couldn't drive in the UK. So we had to transport 9 people at once.
They're more practical than people think.
Yeah, so we got the whole wedding party in these. I mean, there were other cars. I had my Morgan 3-wheeler. We had the Italian job minis. We had a Mercedes SLS. I mean, generally I turned the wedding into a car show, which my wife still.
I've done that too.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah. At our wedding, we had this mini, which was the reason kind of we met. So we had this one as kind of centre stage. Then we had some friends' classic minis into that. And then the person that was doing the wedding organisation for us and doing the photos, she's like, can you just pop that 940 up the hill, please? Just pop it out the way of shot. But no, in our wedding photos, the Volvo 940 is dead centre. I'm probably the only person in the world that has a Volvo 940 as their wedding photo and as their car.
Well, I learned to drive in a Volvo.
I bet you felt safe.
It was bought because it was like, if anything goes into it, it's going to come off a lot worse.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Now, I can't remember the model. I've got a photo of me with learner plates on it. All I remember, it was a GL edition.
Ooh.
So it had the spoiler.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
But when you shut the boot, the backlight fell into the boot. So that was one of its quirks.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that the hubcaps decided to have a life of their own.
Yeah.
And they decided to just
vacate.
But yes, they decided just to go, right, we're no longer on this car, we're going.
Yeah.
And one went, and then I ran over it.
Yeah.
So it made this kind of massive kind of, and I remember kind of going, oh, what's happened? And my dad was like, you've just run over your own hubcap. So,
only in a Volvo you could do that.
Yeah, that car had to be taken off to scrap heap heaven, unfortunately.
Oh dear.
I'm sure if I knew you at that time, you'd have taken it and gone, no,
I'd have definitely taken
can fix
it.
Yeah.
That Volvo 940, everyone's gone, why have you done it? But to date, it has been the best car for my channel. We saved it, we've got it up and running, we did a cheeky burnout with it, because that's what you do.
A Volvo burnout, eh?
You know, with an automatic 340 as well, it's got to be a first. Some people have commented saying that, it's got to be a first.
They are quite torquey, those old Volvos are quite torquey, aren't they? They're quite...
Yeah, so this one, to be fair, it's not a bad little car. So it's at the point now where we've got it running driving, and the idea was to get it gone before Christmas, but parts and stuff like that time, it fought us. Let's put it there. I don't know, it's very different to a Mini, but I do love them.
So yeah, they're kind of polar opposites, but equally.
Completely opposite, yeah. To this date, I don't think people understand why I like a Volvo 940, but it makes good choo-choo sounds, and you can go to IKEA. So what else
exactly, yeah. I guess going to IKEA is like it's almost like taking it back to his birthplace. Almost.
Literally, yeah. And every time I go, even though I've got about 12 different photos, I get a picture of it outside IKEA, and I don't know why I have to do that.
I mean, the thing is, you've come to Coventry, which is the only city that has ever lost an IKEA. I remember going into that IKEA on the last day it was open.
Yeah.
And feeling like a little bit of me was.
Did you like stock up for your freezer of meatballs and buy loads of them?
Yeah, I should have. No,
you had a Volvo, you could have done.
I got loads of frames. Yeah, I was in the wrong car.
Yeah.
So now I've got to go to Birmingham, and it's just not the same.
No.
Just going to Wednesbury on the M6.
You just said M6 there, and it's just.
Yeah, exactly. I always find there's an irony that there's the RAC traffic centre is next to the M6 at the point that
he's waiting for me to go past.
Yeah. Oh, there he is. And I'm just like, they can literally look out the window and go, yeah, traffic's terrible.
Yeah.
Look outside.
Yeah, send the van that someone broke down over there.
So he's broken out. Oh, on the Wednesbury junction, trying to get to IKEA. He's in a Mini. He's never going to fit anything in.
No.
Yeah. He's just
you say that. My Mini Clubman estate, when I first moved out of home, I used that as a van to move out with, and I fit quite a bit from IKEA in that car. or be it the photo wasn't as good.
You're talking to a man who's fitted a lot of pens into a tiny car.
Yeah, so got all the pens. Someone's commented there. I think a friend husband. He's just commented saying, "Have you got enough pens in there?"
So there's equal amount of pens to stickers.
Yeah.
So every time you put a sticker on, you've got to put a pen in. Or that's,
right. Yeah.
That's what it's got to be an equal amount of both.
Yeah. You must have so many pens, or like you must just order constantly in bulk.
That's why I'm sure the Hobbycraft CEO has probably got had another holiday just on me.
Yeah.
just on my purchases. If they analyse the sales at Coventry, they go,
yeah.
Why is there a why do we sell so many Posca pens in Coventry? I'm the answer.
You asked like where I started and doing stuff like that. What about you? What got you into what? Is it cars you like drawing more? Do you like drawing other things?
From day dot, I've always wanted to be an art. I was always going to be an artist.
Yeah.
Like I was good at art at school. I mean, that's what I was only good at. And then I went and did a BTEC National Diploma in illustration.
Yeah.
But I didn't do illustration, even though this is kind of illustrative now. I actually did fine art. So I did fine art at college, and then did fine art I went down south, so of near where we talked about Goodwood and Hampshire earlier. I went down to Winchester with like an accent like this, where I spoke like a Brummie.
Yeah.
And I came back with an accent like this because they were just like, absolutely not. You can't speak like that. I'm sorry.
It's like me being a southerner from West Sussex going to Manchester. I stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, you haven't got any of the accent, have you? Really?
No, apparently I'm a hybrid now.
Hybrid?
Yeah, so I've kind of lost my southern... I go down south now and talk to my family. I'm like, oh my God, they're well posh down here. But
They've got grass and everything.
Yeah, I naturally say grass and castle now, and Bath.
Yeah, as it should be.
Yeah, as it should be, and I'm told that all the time. But if I say Bath and I slip up sometimes, it's not good. It's just very... Why do we even say that down south?
Don't know.
It hasn't got an R in it. Why do we say that?
I think it's something that happens on the A34. I think it just past Oxford. It was literally like a little trigger that goes, no, it's now R. Yeah, so I was going to say something else then. It's not Bath, it's Bath. And other words that are similar. So
yeah, I know where you're going with it.
Yeah, oops, yeah. But back in the 80s, when you said you want to be an artist and you were going to work experience or whatever it was called. You go and have your careers days and stuff.
Yeah.
They'd be like, well, that's not a job, is it? And I'm like, well, it must be. And
the world's changed massively now, isn't it? Things you didn't think were a job, it's definitely, you can do anything now.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, if I just keep persistently at it, I'm sure at some point it will become a job.
Well, you're smashing that.
Well, I'm doing all right. 15 years down the line.
Yeah. I think most cars like this one, it's obviously a car, but it's part of the family. And I think being able to personalise the artwork that people put up in their houses through what you're doing, it fits the bill perfectly for me. And I think that's why the motoring world wants that and loves it. I mean, look how busy you are at places like Goodwood and stuff like that.
I will be back there again for Revival and Festival Speed. I will definitely be there again this year. So
we're popping and say hi.
So talking about events, what have been some of your highlights? What are the ones? Obviously, we met at the Late Break Show. That was really cool. But what are the ones that are on your list of either to go to or ones that you really enjoy?
I try to do the London to Brighton mini run every year, just because I purely don't think you see over 2,000 minis in one place. It's always good fun. It's carnage trying to get out of London, and they've moved like the ground and where it is and stuff now. But I always try and do London to Brighton. Brooklyn's got a classic mini show, is quite good. But through the recent years, I try to do mixed car shows more. I just find that, especially like this, like you commented on the colour and stuff like that, I think this stands out more at a classic car show, not a mini show. And I think and obviously having the Volvos and things like that, I don't know, I guess it's bad for a YouTuber doing it as well, because you get ideas all the time. Just going around to different shows that are a bit mixed. But yeah, for this year, we're doing London to Brighton. I'm going to the NEC, the restoration show, but I'm not taking a car or anything. I'm just going to go and have a good day out with my stepdad. Going to do Goodwood, definitely. We're doing the members meeting at Goodwood as well in April.
That is quite a special show.
Yeah, I've never done it, so.
It's a little bit of revival with a little bit of Foz, but at the motor circuit.
Yeah, and I think from what I've heard, it's more focused on the historic motor racing and stuff like that, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'll probably try and do the NEC later in the year as well, possibly. with Mini Mine if they're watching, because they have a stand there and stuff like that, so that'd be quite cool. So a sponsor of my channel. And yeah, like I say, more pushing towards the mix shows is Capesthorne Hall, which is quite close to us. It's like £6, it goes to charity. And that's what I think the best shows are, the ones that give back, because you're taking a car there, you've built a car, you've spent all the time doing it. It's nice to give back to another charity. And a lot of the classic Mini shows, to be fair, they are a charity-based thing, which I really enjoy doing that.
So looking back at your intro and stuff, so this car has had a bit of a life itself. It's kind of like it's a bit evolved and changed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So when you first got it, but then it had a bit of a Japanese theme to it as well. And
so I bought it, had 12-inch Mini light wheels, rusty, looked the same inside, had a horrible dashboard that was all falling apart, and I paid I think £1,200 for it at the time, and I dailied it for nearly 18 months, I think, something like that. And my now brother-in-law put his hand through the wing, and I thought, right, enough's enough, I'd best take it off the road and restore it. So I learned how to do a front end on it, welded all that on, did the door skins, and then someone painted it for me. And then it came to look like a Japanese-inspired car. So the Japanese-style cars very, very differently to we do in the UK. The best way to describe a Japanese-inspired car is de-rovered, especially with the later ones, is they get rid of all the later Mini stuff and make it look earlier, which is exactly what I've done with this. Like they have the tilt number plates, they have like the single spotlights, quite a Japanese thing as well. And so I took the influence in there because I wanted something a little bit different on the show scene. Had split rims. To be fair, it's changed again since we've sat in it now. So it doesn't look like a Japanese inspired car anymore, but I just thought it was different. And then a few started cropping up on the show scene, so I changed. And I went back to what I love, which is a very early looking Mini. So this now looks like a 70s Mark III Mini, but still with the limited edition stuff. I wouldn't ever change the colour, the interior or anything like that. So yeah, it's kind of gone through evolutions. I think there's been about 7 different wheels on this car.
And I presume there's, in the scene, you can swap parts, and you can, somebody else, somebody else has got something, and then you can kind of between the ownership groups, it kind of goes round.
It does, yeah. So like this one isn't for everyone, and there's so many people who've gone, you've ruined the limited edition. What have you done to that? But I didn't buy this car because it was a limited edition. I mean, it's great that it is. I didn't buy it because of that. I bought it because of the colour. I loved it. This is the second Mini Sidewalk I've owned, actually. I had one in 2009, but I sold it. And basically everything on this car that isn't the original stuff to the sales brochure, which I have with the car, I could change and put back. So I could put the original wheels back on, I could change all the bits I've changed. If I ever wanted to sell it or put it back to original, I could change it overnight if I wanted to.
But that's the whole thing. Like you're saying, some cars are for keeps, and what you do with them is your choice.
Yeah, it always had to be a turnkey car, and the reason I wanted a later Mini, which it's fuel injected, so it doesn't have any of the carburetor faults. You turn it, it's essentially more a Rover than it is an original Mini, really, I guess.
I guess at that point, they were kind of sharing between Metros and...
Yeah, so it's still an A series, but it's got a single point of fuel injected, and then they went to the multi-point injection, which, if people watch my channel, I don't like them much. They're quite difficult to work on with the electrics, and the bodywork is paper mache. So it's
no.
Yeah. They're all very different, I think, and I think every Mini has its kind of, like I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram page, we've got a 72 Estate.
Yep.
That's never been restored. It was found in a garden by a friend of mine. It was vandalised. It's got paint thrown over the bonnet. It's not for everyone, and it's still to this day the best comment. And it was, when are you going to put it out of its misery?
So you were chatting earlier about you're into your kind of your new Minis as well, but not too new. You like your kind of the very early.
Yeah. So I've had 2 R50 Minis. R stands for Rover, because Rover and BMW kind of bought themselves together. They were going to put the K series in it, and then they bought all their ideas together and they produced the early Mini. And the geeky side of me, which I guess comes from the Volvos and stuff like that, I love them, the early Minis. And when I first started kind of doing well and I got an adult job, when I was 18, 19, I bought myself one. I had a 2003 R50 and I loved it. I went everywhere in it. Our first car I got caught speeding in as well, which is probably not the best thing to say. But and then I bought a Y-Reg car, which is a kind of launch car. So it was on a Y registration, and I've had that, I think, for a year and a half. Loved it, and I sold it to buy an estate car to drive to work in, unfortunately. But yeah, they're on my radar. They're cars that I do really, really enjoy, and there is that, you might have heard it going to all these events, new and old Minis. There's a big rivalry on it, and people hate them and stuff like that, and it's like, but if you drive an early Mini, they are very much like an old Mini. And I think you can't really argue at that until you drive one.
The new Mini has helped the old Mini stay alive even longer.
Massively. People forget that. Like, BMW have kept that brand alive. They've obviously got their own series of vehicles that they're producing. We own 2017 Mini Clubman. It's not a Mini by any stretch. I mean, it looks like it's about the size of your truck over there.
Nothing is as big as that truck.
But it's got the right badge on the bonnet. And for me, if you've driven a BMW, they're very, very well made cars. Like, there's new vehicles being built every day. And
has that Clubman got the funky rear doors which you press?
Barn doors, yeah.
Doors, yeah.
Oh, when Mrs S saw them and the doors popped open automatically, it's very cool. And it is very handy. And we have the 72, so we have a very, very new one and then a very old one. And it's like you could put the old one in the boot of it, basically.
What I most like about this is when I take this car to a car show, is that people who don't know what the car is, I hear them trying to work out what it is from afar, and they go, because I've covered over all the badging, it's not like there's a big obvious badge, and they literally all, but the people who get most excited are the people who own a Chevrolet Spark.
Yeah.
And they're like,
and you've made one
oh
famous.
my God, it's a Chevrolet Spark. And I'm like, yes, I know. Yeah, well, and it's normally like, my wife has one. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Like, is it still working? Have you got new suspension for it yet?
Yeah. Can I buy it as a parts car?
Can I please buy it? Because I might need bits off it. So from drawing 600 onwards, we're now at over 1,600.
Oh yeah.
So drawing 600 onwards has been done in this car.
That is amazing, isn't it?
So pretty much, even when I'm not at a show, I'll have this parked outside my studio, and there'll be a trailing lead running from my studio to the car to add the additional power it needs. Yeah. And I'm quite happy. What's quite nice about it is that when all the doors are down, like you can people watch a little bit, and you can, people come up to the car and you can. People will sometimes tap on it, and then they'll come to the driver's side, and then they'll realise there's somebody in it, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, there's a man in the car." I'm like, "Yes, I'm the man in the car. Please don't touch it."
And don't stick a sticker on it.
Yeah, don't stick any stickers on it. No. So, in terms of the channel and what you've got planned, so what's next on the agenda? What's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks? People can look forward to seeing.
There's a lot of work on the 940 coming up. The 940 is my workhorse tool. I sold it to fund getting the workshop that I've got. And then I missed it so much, I had 4 months apart, and then I bought it back off my friend James. So coming up in the near future, we've got some work coming on that. But this year, really, I've set some goals. The Project 89, which is my wife's Mini, that will be painted, not necessarily finished, because it's an expensive restoration. It's going to have like a nice engine and stuff like that in it, but it will be painted, rolling, we can start building it. That's a big goal for this year. And I would really, really like my Volvo Amazon, my 64 Amazon painted, and potentially at the same point where we can then move into 2024 into the show season with them 2 cars, to have something a bit fresh, a bit new. So they're the main 2 cars, and between all that we're going to cycle in some revivals again. So like the Volvo 340, there's many cars that I get offered all the time, but I can't house them all, which is upsetting. But we're going to try and get as many of them in and out and film them. So that's that. But yeah, it's the guys and girls that support the channel that makes it special, because I wouldn't go out there and start cutting a car up if, it's having that drive to get a project done and a drive to get a series out, I think is the biggest thing. So yeah, there's some big cars coming this year, hopefully. Some big changes for the show season for us next year. And moving into like having stands at shows would be nice. So I need something fresh.
Well, it'd be nice to exhibit with you.
Yes, I'd love to do that, yeah.
Right, just add a bit of blue, and then we're pretty much done. So
I'm very
hopefully
excited for this.
You'd be like, "Oh, I like it. That can go on my landing." So, okay. Well, thank you so much for coming down today.
Not a problem. Thank you for having
and you
me.
enjoyed the Transport Museum as well?
Yes, I went for a little walk around there and got some content. I haven't been there for about 7 years. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, no, it was really nice just to have a quick wander around. And like you say, you've changed it a little bit since then. So, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, so I was down there for an event the other week.
Yeah.
And I said to them, they were like, "Oh, can you come and do like a careers thing?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Can I bring my car into the museum?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Absolutely, I'll be there." And I was like, I really wanted.
Of that. It was great.
I wanted a picture of the car in the museum. I mean, at some point, I'm sure, hopefully, this will become a museum piece in itself.
Well, I said that to you earlier. You need your own museum, really, and then you can put your Chevette and stuff in there, and you can rotate, and you can scratch all them car itches. Instead of drawing them, you could have your own little car museum.
Yeah, I'm sure with here at FarGo, if I just take over this bit, it's fine.
Oh, you could get, if not so big, with the truck, but you could fit quite a few nice cars in it.
Yeah.
You see you adding the number plate on there.
A bit of detail. There we are. Right. So just doing that, bit of that, bit of metal.
I can literally see like the little bit of it sticking out there, and I can just. Oh, it looks so good.
Right. There is.
Look at that.
Uno Mini. There we are.
I love that.
Ta-da.
I don't know why I'm looking at my phone. I can see it there.
You can see it there. You can see it on the camera. You can see it there. See it on the camera. There we are. There is. Said continuous car drawing. What do you think?
That is really, really cool.
One turquoise Mini.
You've got the tartan.
Got the tartan as well. All the detail and the number plate and the bits and pieces. Looks lovely. Chromey bits.
I really, really like it.
Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you very much.
I'm going to get this scanned.
Yes.
And then it can be sent to you so it can go on your wall.
Yeah, I'd love that.
So, well, I've got the big truck to get out, so I'm going to get the truck out first because you can't get out.
No, that's cool, yeah. Well,
Anyways.
no, still not mini
Thanks
gap,
very
is
much.
it?
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. Really
And
loved it.
see you later.
See you later.
I'm going to jump in the truck.
Bye.
Bye. To see more continuous car drawings being created, you can follow on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Go on, smash all the like buttons and other things.